Welcome back to Hills and Hollers. Today, we're diving into an old-time skill that's been around for centuries and is still as useful as ever: making pine tar. This process might sound complicated, but it's actually straightforward. And the results? Well, they're pretty amazing. Pine tar has been used for waterproofing, preserving wood, and even in traditional remedies. So, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let me walk you through everything you need to know to make your own pine tar right in your own backyard. Now, a bit of background first. The process of making pine tar dates back to ancient times, when folks used it to protect their boats, tools, and even their skin from the elements. It's been used all over the world, but it has deep roots here in the Appalachian region too. Imagine those early settlers who depended on this sticky black tar to keep their cabins and tools in good shape. If you're wondering why they turned to pine tar, it's because of the resin. Pine trees have this amazing, naturally sticky resin that, when heated, turns into a thick, waterproof tar. It's like nature's very own glue, preservative, and waterproofing agent all rolled into one. Alright, let's get into the process, step by step. The first thing you need to do is find the right kind of wood. Not just any old pine will do. You're looking for wood that's heavy with resin. This kind of wood is often called fat wood. And here's a tip. The best fat wood usually comes from the stumps and roots of old pine trees. If you have an old stump lying around or can find a downed pine tree, that's a gold mine for this process. Fat wood is unique because it's almost pure resin, making it ideal for pine tar. It's heavy, it's sticky, and you'll notice that it doesn't rot as fast as regular wood. This is what you want, something that'll hold up and release a lot of resin when heated. So, collect a good amount of this wood and cut it into smaller pieces so it fits into your kiln. Now, let's talk kilns. Don't worry, you don't need anything fancy. A kiln for making pine tar can be as simple as a 55-gallon metal drum, or even a smaller 5-gallon metal bucket. Both work great, depending on how much tar you want to produce at a time. If you're going the larger route, that 55-gallon drum is ideal for processing a bigger batch. Here's what you'll need for that setup: a 55-gallon metal drum, a metal pipe that will serve as a spout for the tar to drain out, fireproof bricks or stones to raise it off the ground, and a small metal container to collect the tar. For this setup, start by cutting or drilling a hole at the bottom center, just big enough for the metal pipe to fit through. Secure the pipe at a slight downward angle, allowing the tar to flow out and collect in your container. Place the drum on bricks or stones to create a fire space underneath. Now, if you're working on a smaller scale, a 5-gallon metal bucket is a great alternative. It's easier to handle and doesn't require as much wood. You'll need similar materials: a 5-gallon metal bucket with a lid, a short metal pipe for the spout, a fireproof base like bricks or stones to raise it off the ground, a small collection can. For the 5-gallon setup, drill a hole at the bottom center of the bucket, just like with the drum, and insert the metal pipe at an angle to direct the tar flow. Rest the bucket on a fireproof base, and you're ready to go. Both setups work well. The drum is great for bigger batches, while the 5-gallon bucket is perfect if you're making a smaller amount of tar. Whichever you choose, just make sure you've got a stable fire-safe base and a steady heat source underneath. Before we start cooking, let's talk about safety. I'm big on safety, especially with something like this that involves fire and high heat. Find a good open area away from flammable stuff. A clear patch of dirt works well. And don't forget some good gloves, eye protection, and maybe even a face mask, because pine tar can get smoky and sticky. Now, set your drum on the bricks or stones to raise it up a bit. You want space underneath to build a fire that'll heat the drum evenly. And remember, this process takes a bit of time, so make sure you're ready to hang out and keep an eye on things. Alright, here's where it gets exciting. Take your pine or fat wood and load it into the drum. You want to pack it pretty tight, but not so tight that there's no airflow. The heat needs to move through the wood to release the resin, so think tight but not squished. And here's an old trick. You can even layer in small stones or pebbles with the wood to help create little air gaps. This lets the heat move around better, and helps the tar flow down toward the pipe. Now it's time to light that fire. Start your fire beneath the drum and keep it steady. You may want to also build a fire around the outer base. You want a nice, even heat, not a raging bonfire. Think of it like slow cooking a stew. Low and slow is the way to go. As the wood heats up, the resin will start to liquefy and flow down toward the pipe. Be patient. This can take hours depending on your setup. And here's a tip. If you see smoke coming out of the top, that's normal. But if it starts pouring out, lower the heat a bit. Too much heat, and you'll burn the tar rather than collect it. As the resin melts, it'll flow through the pipe and drip down into your collection container. This part is kind of mesmerizing to watch. It's thick, black, and sticky, almost like molasses. Once you've got a good amount collected, you can remove the container and let it cool. And voila, you've got yourself a batch of homemade pine tar. Now, what can you do with this pine tar? Well, let's start with one of the most common uses, waterproofing. Pine tar is excellent for coating wood, whether it's a tool handle, a fence post, or even a wooden roof. It seeps into the wood fibers and creates a weatherproof barrier that keeps moisture out. Just rub a bit on with a cloth and let it soak in. Your wood will last longer, and it'll smell great. Pine tar was also used on old sailing ships to waterproof the wood and the ropes. You can use it on anything you want to protect from the weather. Another traditional use? Healing. Believe it or not, pine tar has been used in folk medicine for generations. It's known for its antibacterial and antifungal properties. People used to rub a bit on cuts and scrapes, and it's even been used in salves for eczema and other skin conditions. Now, I'd say be cautious with this one. Pine tar can be strong and might irritate some folks' skin. But it's interesting to know it's been used as a natural remedy for years. Pine tar is also used in soap making. Yep, that black sticky stuff is actually an ingredient in pine tar soap, which is known for being great for the skin. The soap has a natural earthy scent and is popular among people with sensitive skin or conditions like psoriasis. It might sound odd, but people swear by it. Just a dab of tar mixed into homemade soap recipes, and you've got an old-fashioned remedy that's gentle and effective. And there's more. Pine tar can be used as a natural insect repellent. A little goes a long way here, but if you've got tools or areas that bugs like to munch on, a touch of tar can keep them at bay. It's also great for patching up small leaks or cracks in wood or even metal. Think of it as a natural caulk. People have even used pine tar as a way to trap small pests. Just spread a thin layer on a surface, and it'll catch anything that crawls across it. Simple and effective. So, there you have it. An age-old technique for making pine tar right here at home. This stuff is versatile, practical, and it smells like the forest. It's not only a way to preserve and protect, it's a way to connect with a tradition that's as old as the hills. Making pine tar might seem like a lot of work, but once you try it, you'll see why people have relied on this stuff for centuries. So next time you're near an old pine stump, think about what's hiding in there. A treasure trove of sticky, useful tar just waiting to be made. Thanks for watching Hills and Hollers. Don't forget to subscribe for more homesteading tips, traditional skills, and a few good stories along the way. And if you've got any questions or stories about making pine tar, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.